Hey guys, welcome back to my professional life. I'm your host, Tikia Travis. Today's episode, I want to talk about balancing romance or relationships while career building. Okay. First of all, I just want to point out I don't know that I'm someone who should give relationship advice because, I haven't had many relationships or anything like that. But what I can say is that I think that my experiences are valid enough where these are things that I can speak to only from what I've experienced. But yeah, I think that each of us, as we are navigating these different paths in our lives and professionalism and all of that, it's easy to want partnership and to want romance and to want to be with someone. But it's kind of awkward. And for those of y'all who are millennials like me, y'all know it is mad weird out here. It's weird, and then it's weird some more. It's weird some more. So just follow along. First thing I want to tell you, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast via Apple, Spotify, Google, all the places that you listen. Share with somebody because I really feel like this episode is going to bless a lot of people who are really in the same place or experiencing some of the same thoughts. So, first things first, I think that we all often hear choosing the right person as your partner is super important. And I'm pretty sure we each have the same question of how do you know that this person is the right partner? Well, that's the thing. You really don't. And you can meet them and get to know them and try to look for specific qualities in them that you think align with yours and tell you, hey, this person might be a really good person for me. But let me tell y'all something. There are some wolves out here in sheep's clothing. Stay with me. Just stay with me. So, I think that choosing the right partner, looking at values is extremely important. Looking at their character, understanding what their beliefs are, looking at their personality, what are they passionate about, what drives them, what are their attitudes like. Those are all top tier things to really consider because this is somebody that you'll be dealing with day in and day out. This may be someone you end up marrying or having kids with or what have you. So knowing them on these levels, I think is extremely important, especially when it comes down to adding someone into your environment, because we know that as we add different things into our environment, it really does change or manipulate the spaces that we occupy. And so again, we want to be protective of ourselves, of our families, of the people who we are introducing, this person to as well. So it's always important to ask, what are they like when they win? What are they like when they lose? Because I think that is going to speak to their character. That's going to speak to their attitude. Are they someone who, immediately gets upset when things don't go their way? That, for me, is personally a red flag because what that tells me is that you may be someone who is looking or seeking perfection. And if you don't find perfection in yourself, are you going to try to find perfection in me or find fault in me when things are not going the way that you expect or anticipate that they should go? But then also, in not being perfect or in not winning or obtaining something that they want, and when they get upset, how do they treat you as a result? How do they treat people around them? I think that also, again, it speaks to that attitude, it speaks to the character. And I've been in situations where I've really had to step back and evaluate people and say, it's pretty interesting that you'll, act this way or, purport yourself to be one way, but you're completely the other. You also have to ask yourself, when they win, are they on an extreme high? Are they someone who's they're really walking around, kind of like a rooster, showing their feathers. I think that's the right analogy. If I'm wrong, then my bad, but y'all get what I'm saying. Are they walking around with their chest puffed out, feeling like they're that person, right? And so is there ego? Because we live in a society that tells us that ego is everything and it's okay to have an ego because that's what people expect and that's how people will respect you and, people are going to approve of you. But the reality is when you're with that person who's supposed to be your person behind closed doors, how does that ego translate into the relationship, into the partnership, into the friendship? So just, those are some things to consider. Think about when you win. When you win and when you lose, how do they operate with you? How do they act? Are they super excited when you win and extremely supportive and proud of you and just like, showering you with love and just promoting you, like, speaking highly and great of you? Or when you win, are they like tucked off in the corner, jealous, rolling their eyes, angry? Those are things like to be extremely aware about. And even the people who seem like they really support you in person, like they'll seem like they're so happy for you when they're around a group of other people, but as soon as you get alone, they're extremely mean, and it's supposed to be a celebration of you or your accomplishments. Let me tell y'all, red flag, run for the hills. Do not stop. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Like, get the heck away from them. Like, because when I tell you that emotional abuse is real and manipulation is real, it is real. I probably just like sounded and looked extremely serious saying this, but like I've had that situation happen to me when dating someone. And I just want to point out there's a difference between dating someone and being in a relationship with someone. You can love someone and not be in love with them. You can like someone and not love them. You can date someone and not want to be in a relationship with them. It's separate. And if you feel like I'm wrong for that, that's you and I'm me, and that's just where I stand on it. But like, I've been in a situation where I've had wins and I've had these, celebratory moments, and where I'm extremely proud, and I want to bask in those moments of being proud of myself and, really proud of like where I've come and where I've ended up and where I'm going. And I've had someone display jealousy and display anger, and around other people they seem okay and they seem calm and they seem nice, but as soon as it's us two together not around anyone else, then it's driving 90 miles per hour in a car on the expressway, which is something I'm not down with, period. As a form of, I like to call it intimidation, because it's like, if it's something I don't like and I don't like it, but you do it, then you're doing it to intimidate me, right? Because you're angry or you're upset that something worked out in my favor, or something about me or concerning me is important, and other people are like, oh, okay, like, hey, like, this is great for her. And I've had that happen, and I've had people who make situations about themselves in moments of celebration for me, or in my wins or my big moments. You make things about, they've made things about themselves where it's like, oh, you didn't tell me that this happened. I should have been the first person that you called. Just things like that. And with me, I'm someone who is, and I always say, for those who know me, but I'm someone who's extremely reflective of myself. I'm extremely reflective by myself as well. Like, when something happens, I'm not really quick to tell anyone. I like to sit with things myself, and I like to give honor and thanks to God. And I like to pray about the situations that I'm in, the things that are working out. And then I move to telling whomever. And typically the people that I'm going to tell first are my family. It's going to be my mom. It's going to be my sisters, my brother. It's going to be my family, because a win for me is a win for my family. And that's how I see it, because again, I look at the sacrifices that have been made on my behalf. I look at the labor that has been put forth so I can live and so I can have these experiences. And so I do feel like anyone after my family, after I give thanks to God and after I tell my family, anyone after, it's like, you're after. And it doesn't mean that I'm thinking less of you, but that's where I am, and if you're not the love of my life, if you're not my husband, and I guess what, y'all, you see this hand? I don't have a ring on my finger. I just feel like I am not obligated to go out of my way to make other people feel comfortable and tell them about anything pertaining to me until I'm ready to do it. And so that's why I say, just, be extremely protective of yourselves in those moments, because you'll have people that will come and, in the midst of your joyous moments, will definitely try to steal your joy, will take a very high moment and make it a very low moment. And y'all, run, okay? I want you to run like Forrest Gump. Get them knees to them chests and run, okay? So also, I think that, like, as you are looking at, like, balancing romance, if you're someone who's currently in a relationship, Honestly, I think that being in a relationship, it is about reciprocity. It is about meeting each other, meeting each other's needs. And the thing is, things won't always be 50-50. Sometimes it'll be 70-30. Sometimes it'll be 90-10. Sometimes it'll be 40-60 or 20-80. And some days you'll feel like you're the person who's giving more and they're giving less, and some days they'll feel like they're giving more and you're giving less. And so for that, I say communication is extremely important. As we grow older and we're not in college and in grad or professional school anymore, we find that our time is really occupied by being at work. Hey there, are you enjoying today's episode? If so, be sure to head over to YouTube, follow me, and subscribe to my channel at Tikia S. Travis. That is where I will be uploading more of the video episodes for the podcast. I can't wait to bring you guys more lifestyle, Christian education, and career content. Be sure to share with family and friends, and again, make sure that you subscribe. Let's get back to the episode. So, with working different schedules, you'll find yourself being extremely, like I said, occupied with your day-to-day operations, with getting tasks done for work. But I have come to learn being in relationship and having a full-time job. And when I think about my first full-time job out of college, being a college recruiter, like ripping and running, okay, I'm serious. Those of you who have worked in college admissions, you know that college admissions is not 9 to 5. It is literally like a high performing occupation. You are up as early as 3-4 in the morning and probably not getting off until 10-10:30 because of traveling out of state, traveling downstate, upstate, traveling to schools, fairs, and all of that. And that being my first job, like directly out of college, my schedule wasn't really my own. Like, it wasn't. And so, at the time, my boyfriend then was in college, still finishing up his bachelor's degree. So there was almost a sort of like, I guess, balance, if I can call it that, because, there was still this sort of regimented schedule that, they were in with working and class, and then I had my work schedule. But because this was someone who I loved, like, just loved, wanted to be around, was my friend, I made an effort to say, okay, if I'm working like in the vicinity of where you live, even if I get off work at like 9-10 o'clock, I'm definitely going to come over. We're going to have dinner or just like hang out. And, I think that making that effort, again, relationships are about reciprocity. Making that effort is everything, because even though I'm working crazy and like I'm out of college and you're still finishing school and all this stuff, it was still extremely important for me to show that like I do care about you and I do care about the relationship. So this is what I'm willing to do to make sure that, the relationship does last and, we have some longevity. I would say, like, now that I'm a bit older, I still think that it's important to make time, even with having different work schedules, whether someone is working later and longer hours or vice versa. It's still extremely important to, make sure that you make the time. If you can't see each other on weekdays or weeknights or, something like that, try to make time for the weekends. Try to, designate some time to, spend together. It doesn't have to always be going out to events or, spending money on food out. It's just about the little things. It can be making a huge like pile on your floor with comforters and pillows and making popcorn and watching movies, like, and just like spending that type of like cozy, intimate time with each other, because, time is something that we assume we have a lot of, and the reality is we don't. Like, we honestly do not have as much time as we think. And so I think it is important that as you consider balancing a relationship, or if you're, pursuing or being pursued as a romantic partner, making that time is everything. And I'm not saying that you have to smother each other, because again, as adults, as human beings, we need our space to be able to, operate on our own and have these moments of solitude, because we give so much of ourselves away to other people and to the work that we do. But, as long as you're taking time for yourself and allowing your partner or your, your potential partner to have time for themselves, it's important as well. But still, make time for each other, because when you don't, it it basically deads the relationship. Like, it deads it. The emotions, the emotional vulnerability that, was there or could be there, it's not going to be there. And, of course, like, each of us are single until we're married, because basically you are. But the thing is, like, it's nothing worse than feeling single in a relationship. And so feeling alone or feeling by yourself because there is no effort being made, whether it's your fault or the partner's fault, it's still something that it's just not, it's not okay. So, like, take some accountability and, meet your partner, try to meet in the middle, or try to have these conversations about what's working, what's not working, doing a couple of check-ins and things like that. I think that can be beneficial. You also want to realize that as you both are growing in your professions, that work, it's real for us. Like, it's not just something you can slap a band-aid on and, really get away from. It's like when you are working to be at the top of your career, or you're working to move up, or to be a leader, a supervisor, a manager, whatever, that there are certain hours and certain amounts of time that you are going to have to put in. But at the same time, you have to also realize, do you have a partner that's supportive of that? Is this a partner that you can talk to about work? Even if they're not working in the same field as you, is this still someone that you can go and you can talk about, this is how work was today? And it's not just the generic, oh, work was fine and I did this and it was a good day. I mean, like, is this someone you can truly say, like, hey, this is my 5-year plan for work. This is my 1-year plan. This is my 1-week plan. Like, is this someone that you can be vulnerable and be honest with and talk about what you want for yourself? Do you always want to work for a corporation or for an institution? Or do you want to be an entrepreneur? Is this someone who, when I say partner, I'm not just saying someone who's just there. I mean someone who you can laugh with, someone who you can cry with, someone who you can be open and honest with, someone who's going to tell you, like, hey, this is working and this is not working, someone who's going to help take your ideas to the next level, someone who's going to pray with you and pray for you, someone who is going to understand and see your needs, and they're going to show up and they are going to say, I see you, I get you, I understand you, I hear you, and I am here for you. Honestly, if you don't have that in a partner, get rid of them. I'm just kidding. Y'all do not, I'm telling you, my advice is what I do for myself. Don't let me hurt y'all. Don't listen to me. But no, I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just saying, like, if you're with someone and you don't feel like you're getting that, talk to them about what you need and ask them what they need from you. Because if you don't even know what they need from you, what are you doing? And it may make you wonder, like, or make you question, should we be together? And I know that most of the time, they say that millennials and Gen Zers, we're so quick to, we practice marriage and we practice dating and divorce. We basically practice divorce and dating because we'll be with someone and then we'll break up with someone and then we'll get with someone else and do that. And, same pattern. It's just, very cyclical. But the reality is, I think that we've come to a point that we don't want to settle. I don't want to settle for being with someone who doesn't see. They don't see me. They don't see what I need. They don't hear what I need. They're not focused on that, and they're focused solely on themselves, and they're selfish. I don't want to be with a partner like that. And I think that none of us want to be with a partner like that. I think that when we talk about reciprocity, it's about both meeting. It's about both meeting the needs of each other and helping each other and supporting each other and developing each other, because no one gets anywhere in this world alone. We don't. It's easy to say, well, I did this by myself. I did this on my own. But it feels so much better when you say, I did this with my girl. I did this with my guy. And this is what we built. And this is what we're working towards building. And, you know where you're going. You know what I mean? Like, it's not you saying, like, where are we? Or, like, what are we doing? And I think the question of, like, where are we and what are we doing, when you do get to a certain age, it's in your mind every single day. And the reason it's there is because you're looking around, and again, you're looking at the people who are engaged and who are married and who are having kids and who are building businesses and who are traveling and they're doing these things. And you're like, I know I have this in me, but where is the person who's going to be in this with me, who wants the same things that I want, who isn't afraid, and who's going to listen, and who's going to show up, and who's going to say, you know what, despite what other people say about you or think about you, I know who you are. I believe in who you are, and I'm here for you. And honestly, if you don't have somebody that's holding you down like that, it's really time to reevaluate the market and really ask yourself, what am I doing? Am I settling? Am I selling myself short? And should I take myself back to the drawing board and really pray for my partner? I think that I do think that praying for your partner, whether you have one or you're seeking one, it's extremely important, because we have to pray that God really does guard our minds and guard our hearts, because it's so easy for things to be twisted and convoluted from the world that we live in. If you look at all of the secular things that are like on social media, and that's easily accessible, it's literally like in the palm of our hands, right? It's just, those are things that you have to pray over your partner for. You have to pray that there's someone who is designed specifically for you, someone who's patient, someone who's kind, someone who's honest, someone who's genuine, someone who is not jealous, someone who's not boastful. Like, I think, and this is just me, I think that praying for your partner, it does more good than it does harm, because it's really you being aware of who you are. Because typically, if you're praying for a partner, you're praying for someone who's going to meet you where you are. And I wouldn't pray to have a partner who is less than where I am, or even more than where I am. I want to be with someone who's evenly yoked, someone who is going to say, Tikia, I understand that you, for the most part, are a workaholic. I understand that you are very hard on yourself. I understand that you are, family is very important to you. It's what matters. It's important. You want to go back to school for a PhD. You do all of these different, I want someone who is aware and understands, but not that they just are aware and understand, but that they also take action to show that, okay, how can I support you? How can I be here to help you? And sometimes it's more than just people asking. It's truly them just saying, because I know you, and because I don't have to seek answers from other people about who you are, and I know what you need, and you've told me and you've expressed what you need, they just show up and they just do it. And so, for a while there was this trend happening on social media with people asking Sierra what was her prayer for Russell Wilson. And this is always so funny to me, because they're like, oh my gosh, Sierra girl, what did you pray? Send me a husband like this. And here's the thing, everything that glitters is not gold. And this is not me talking about their marriage, because I don't know it, and none of you know it, none of us know it. The reality is, we only know about relationships what we see on social media, but we don't know what happens behind the doors of people's homes. We don't know the frustrations, we don't know the irritations, we don't know all of the high moments and the happy moments. But what we are seeing and experiencing through social media is that we're seeing that they are publicly showing affection for each other and expressing kind and thoughtful words about one another as spouses, as friends, as partners. And I can understand that we as a people, we want that, because we're like, wow, do you see how he loves her? Do you see how she loves him? I want that. I want somebody that's gonna ride for me, period, right? And it's okay to want that. But I also think that praying for it and looking at that partner, when I say look, y'all, I mean I want y'all to be like Marty Marr, hooty hoo. I want you to really look at who coming across the Himalayas for you. Because when I tell y'all, it's people out here that purport themselves, meaning that they position themselves to look or be or appear one way and they are the other. I'm telling y'all they are. And then you got the people out here who they're great. You're like, oh my God, they're so great. What's wrong with you? And then you find out, oh, okay, so you're someone who other people have to dictate what you do and how you do it, or you listen to these people and, you hold priority with these people and they mean more to you than the relationship. So it's everybody has their hang-ups. Nobody is perfect. And of course we hear, and I've heard this time and time again, you just have to figure out what you're willing to tolerate. And y'all, I'm not settling. I'm not settling for less than what I deserve. I'm not settling for less than what I expect, and I'm not settling to be less than what someone else needs. And that's why again I say communication is extremely important. When you are working and you are building, there is no room for you to have someone in your life that is not willing to step up to the plate and to say, I'm here with you, I'm here for you. It's just not, because if not, you can do it by yourself. Period. Whew. Let me take a little breath. So I know that like there are people who often ask like, oh, like what advice would you give, like for renewing like a relationship or renewing a romance? And the biggest thing that I would say is like knowing who you are, knowing who that partner is, if it's an ex that you're getting back together with or someone that you dated previously and you're like looking to explore. Like, again, knowing who you are is extremely important. Also taking the time to understand who they are, because people are not going to change overnight. And you have to ask yourself, like, what are the things that you know about them that you love, that you like, that you don't like, that you hate? And you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to put up with? And if there are more things on that list that you are not willing to put up with, you probably need to just like leave them alone. But again, if you're praying about the situation and you feel led that that's the person you're supposed to be with, this is the situation you're supposed to be in, then by all means go for it, because you are you and only you know what you need or what you want. Now, if they got like one big thing, maybe it's like you're like, oh, I can deal with it. But, they have a lot of good qualities, but there's like that one thing that is like annoying to you or that you feel like you can't deal with. First thing I'm going to do is tell you to pray about it. And if prayer is not working for you in this moment, leave them alone. Leave them alone, because you will find yourself resenting them and not wanting to be bothered with them. And whatever the problem or issue is that you're not a fan of, just, And as you think about building a legacy and moving up in your career or just setting yourself up for your future, again, you want to think about, what do you have room to tolerate? If you don't have room for someone not showing up to the plate, if you don't have room for laziness, if you don't have room for jealousy, if you don't have room to try to shape or mold or help develop someone who has these little hangups that you're not okay with, literally move around, like leave it alone. That's the most honest thing that I could possibly tell you to do. And like I said, at the beginning of this episode, I am not a relationship expert. I'm not saying you have to take like my, relationship advice, but I did want to kind of come on and talk about, a few of the things that I think are helpful. Like when you're talking about being in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship while building your life and having a career, the biggest thing is making time for each other. And making time for each other doesn't have to include making time for each other's friend groups. It doesn't have to be going out, spending money on dates. It can be sitting in the house, watching movies, playing board games, like having beautiful, intimate, personable time together where you communicate and where you really have these authentic conversations about what's important to you now, what's important to you for the future, what are your next steps and goals, and just not being, kind of drug around by the nose, like not really knowing what's happening. I know that, and again, like we all work crazy schedules, and unless you're living with your partner or married, or if you guys live separate, it can be a little difficult to figure out a schedule where you can see each other. But I always say people make time for people that they want to make time for. I also say that, like, if you feel like there's like awkwardness like happening where you never see this person, but you're supposed to be dating or you're supposed to be together, unless you live in different states and you have agreed to being in a long distance relationship, there's no reason you guys should live in the same city and not see each other. It's just not, because again, people make time for what they want to make time for. People will go out with friends, they'll go out with coworkers, they'll go out with family, they'll go out with strangers. They'll lie about what they're doing. They'll hide what they're doing. People do what they want to do. So it's just important to really, have this open line of communication and figure out, like, what are we doing? Are we openly dating? Are we going on one date? Are, like, knowing that, having those types of answers, I think will give you more stability in your, path for dating. That's it. So yeah, ask yourself what you're willing to deal with. Um, you know what they say: if they lie, they steal. If they steal, they kill. If they kill, they'll do anything. So you have to really ask yourself what you're willing to put up with when it comes to people. And for me, like, there are a lot of things that I don't tolerate. And it's not because I'm perfect, but it's because I want to shower the person that I'm with or I'm dating. I want to give them the same respect that I would like back. So I feel like if I'm doing something to you that is unbecoming, it's just not right. And I can't expect for you to be like really great to me and I'm not being really great to you. And then I know people do like the tit for tat thing, y'all. As we get older, let's leave the tit for tat alone, because in the end, you're not going to get more from that. Even if you feel like, oh, well, I'm going to get my lick back and I'm going to do this and make them feel it, and I want her to feel this way and I want him to feel this way. Let me tell you, all you're doing is putting more pressure and anger and pain on yourself because of someone that you have been dealing with, who did not respect you, did not care about you, did not love you. And even if they say they do love you, love is not betrayal. Love is not hurt. Love is not pain. Love is not annoying someone. Love is not ignoring someone. Love is, it's patient and it's kind and it doesn't envy and it doesn't boast and it's not proud and it doesn't dishonor others. And love is just, it's all things that don't hurt. And I can promise you that it's all things that don't make you feel insecure. Love does not make you feel like you are undeserving. And so just keep that in mind as you are navigating your relationship. And even if you are someone who's in a long distance relationship and you don't see each other all the time, guess what? People are still doing FaceTime dates. People still talk to each other every day at least. And guess what? There are cars and there are airplanes. Yes, now mind you, flights are expensive, but meet in the middle and figure out, maybe you fly there once a month or vice versa. Just put time into what you want. If a relationship is what you want, especially as you are navigating your career, or if you feel like you're at a good place in your career and you really want that and you want to start a family and, you know, get married and all of that, you have to put the time and the work in. But if you are not, or you don't have someone who is meeting you where you need to be met, then it's time to reevaluate some things. And that's perfectly okay, because despite what people say about age and women and all of that stuff, the older you get, you lose value. That is a lie, because who you are and how you are, the right person that comes along, they're going to see that, and they're going to see that your value, it just exceeds anything that anyone has ever said. And where other people won't see value in you, the person that is created and matched and perfect for you, they're going to see you in a way that you could have never seen yourself. And I think that that's beauty. That's the beauty in love. That's the beauty in friendship. That's the beauty in someone being authentic and saying, you know what? God created you just for me and me just for you. And they knew that when they got with you with purpose. And they knew that you were the assignment. You weren't something to just do and to just get rid of. They knew that you were the assignment that they were sent on earth to be with, to understand, to protect, to love, to shepherd. They knew. And so, y'all, I'm sitting here like, oh, like, where is this love, right? But that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope that this is helpful. I hope that it opens your mind up. If you're listening, if you're watching, I hope that it opens your mind up to where you are and where you would like to go. And guess what? This isn't just for the singles. This isn't just for the people in their 20s and 30s and all of that. This is for the people who are widows. This is for the people who are divorced. This is for the people who have never been married and just figuring things out. As you think about introducing love or relationship into your environment, you want to make sure that the person and the partner isn't someone who's going to harm the environment. And I say that with a thought of science in my head, or gardening, right? If you introduce the wrong plant or a weed into your garden, next thing you know, all of the beautiful flowers or the vegetables and fruits you were planted, they're being overtaken by the weeds. Or if you introduce infection into a healthy body, next thing you know, if the cells in the body aren't healthy enough to fight it off, now your body is being consumed with unhealthy cells or the unhealthy disease. So you just have to be mindful of what you introduce, how you introduce it, and why you're introducing it. Why are you letting this person into your space? Should they really be in your space? Should they be in your environment? So I'll end this by saying, always stay focused. Be aware, not just of your surroundings, but be aware of the people who are in your surroundings and how or why they're trying to enter into your space. And also pray over yourself. Pray that God will circumcise your eyes and your ears to hear and to see what you're supposed to present you with new opportunities to meet the person that you're supposed to be connected and aligned to. You have to pray for also divine intervention, the things that you don't understand, the things that you are scared to understand. You have to ask for more clarity and more guidance, and that God will lead and direct your path, right? And that He'll direct, not your path, but direct your feet as you walk on your path toward your destiny, toward your purpose. You want to make sure that you are giving yourself a real opportunity to be paired and matched with someone who is understanding of who you are, who is deserving of your time, who is deserving of everything good that has been placed inside of you. Because we're in a place in this world where it's easy to get on Hinge, and it's easy to get on Tinder, and it's easy to get on like all the dating apps and have a booty call or meet somebody who just wants to see if they can smash, period. Like, we know that that's what it is. And so you have to ask yourself, is that right for you? And if you do find yourself on a dating app, pray about it. Pray about the people that you attract, because we each have a tendency to attract the same type of people. And so we want to make sure that we're opening ourselves up to only attract what is good for us, only attract who is good for us. So I'll leave you guys there. I'm wishing you guys a happy Valentine's Day, happy Galentine's Day, happy if you have a pal or a gal or a boo or whoever, just spend the time cherishing those people and those moments. And if you are single this Valentine's Day, guess what? Happy Valentine's Day to you anyway, because you are so loved, and you are going to be so loved when you meet your partner and meet your match. And I'm wishing you health and wealth and good fortune, and stay safe until the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Please be sure to subscribe via Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen from. Also, please feel free to follow me on Instagram at My Professional Life or on Twitter at Tikia and I. I can't wait to see you guys in the next epi. Until then, stay safe and be well. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel on YouTube at Tikia S. Travis.